Hi, my name's Kelly Gilson, and I'm the Executive Director of United Way Oxford. I invite you to join us on our new Let's Talk Local Oxford series. We'll share everything about United Way Oxford, our work, our partners, our investments, and how everything we do is designed to create positive social change right here at home in Oxford County. Not only do we want to share, but we hope to inspire you to join in our efforts and learn ways in which you too can show your local love. So, let's talk local, Oxford.
Woodstock Libro Credit Union is the proud sponsor of Let's Talk Local Oxford.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Local, Oxford. I would like to start by thanking Libro Credit Union for being our incredibly generous sponsor for these podcasts. We couldn't do it without them, and we really appreciate their support for this work. Because we want to share not only what United Way is doing in the community here in Oxford County, but also what our partners and our funded agencies are doing and what the needs of the community are, because we think it really matters to look at that big picture. And so today we will be chatting with one of our funded partners, and so that's Ingamo Family Homes. And joining us from Ingamo Family Homes is their Executive Director, Diane Harris. So Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. It's great to be here.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come and tell us a little bit about the good work that you're doing in the community and the work that we're partnering on or that we're funding, and really the impact you're having on the lives of women and children and families across Oxford County. So thanks for joining us, and we're going to get right to it, if that's okay.
Well, first, I would like to just give you an overview of what Ingamo Homes is.
Perfect.
We are named, and I just want to clarify there, is our name used to be Ingamo Family Homes, but we did do, that's our more legal name. We've shortened it to Ingamo Homes, just to ensure that it is also inclusive and welcoming to women who may not have children with them at the time that they come into our services. Ingamo Homes is second stage transitional housing. I'm sure everybody listening to us right now understands that there is a first stage, which is the Crisis Center, which is now known as Domestic Abuse Services Oxford. Ingamo Homes came out of that shelter movement, and it started back in the late 80s, and they were finding that women had no place to go. So what a group of really well-meaning individuals came along, and they found a grant under the P3000 of Ministry of Housing at that time and Ministry of Community and Social Services, and we came up with a program for second stage. So we have a 21 townhouse unit complex where we provide services for women and children or women without children, and we work with them on issues that brought them to us, and most often it's domestic violence or any kind of violence in their past traumas.
You know, thank you for explaining that a little bit, because while I believe many in the community and across Oxford, because you serve the entire county, are familiar with the organization and the good work, I don't know that people are really fully understanding what second stage housing is. And if memory serves, you were one of the really early pioneers in this important second stage housing movement, correct?
Absolutely. Ingamo was the second stage in Ontario, the first being in Ottawa. So when they did build our facility, there was lots of things that we still needed to know. So like things like large group rooms and meeting spaces. We have tried to reinvent space, and that's hard. It's a hard commodity. But Yeah, the program is it's kind of an evolving program where we try to meet the women where they're at. What is it that they would like to work on? First and foremost, finding out what abuse is, how they can manage what had happened to them, because that's not who they are. That is what happened to them. We want to ensure that women know that they have courage, that they have strength, that they can move beyond that. And most of our programs really look at moving people forward.
Which is so important. And I think this is, here in our United Way world, we often talk about how it takes a village, that our work and our investments in community are part of the village, our donors are part of the village, and our partners are like a critical part of the village. And your work in offering the support and the services and the hope for the future is such a critical piece of that, the work of the village to move
Absolutely.
people forward.
Absolutely. And I have been saying for many, many years, I do not want to do this work alone. It does require collaboration. It does require everyone's help and assistance. And United Way has been so helpful to Ingamo over the past that, and we continue to thank you for that. And we look forward to continuing working together.
It's our pleasure. We see the impact. I think people, when they think of United Way, they think of us often as a fundraiser, and clearly we are. We need the funds to do the work that we do and make those investments. But we also put as much energy and time and effort and rigor into making sure we use those funds to best meet the needs of the community, to support those organizations that are best positioned to have impact and to create that kind of positive change that we need. And Ingamo Homes is certainly one of those organizations that we have been so proud to fund, because we see the evidence, we see the impact of your work as people move forward with their lives. And so maybe that's a segue into our funding specifically over the last number of years has been targeted to a very, very specific program that you run, a supportive mothers program. And maybe you could explain a little bit about what that program is and why it matters.
Okay, that program is a spin-off from something else that you have kindly funded, and that was the Caring Dads program out of Family Violence Counseling program. There is a program for women that kind of duplicates that, and it's an intervention program. It's a 12-week program where women who have experienced or witnessed or have lived in an abusive environment, it's looking at growing up in that type of environment. What are the impacts to that? What is the impacts on your children? There is so many things that as parents, we parent the way we have seen to be parented. And it's just a life in itself that people do. They do from what they've learned and may not even really realize some of those actions. But this is to really look at the development of your children, what had happened to you, what is abuse, how does it look, and it really takes a focus on child-centering parenting. So when I say that, it's like if a child is crying, it's like an example. If a child falls down and hurts his knee and comes to mom and mom is busy doing something that she wants to finish and she doesn't, she just, kind of pauses away and continues with her. Is that parent-centered or is that child-centered? And we're trying to help women see that is not child-centered. The child needs you at this time. You stop, you go to the child, you see what the child needs, and then you can go back to what it is after you've met those needs. So it's really opening up the door to learn not only about themselves, but what their life was like and how they can draw all those similarities and how they can change that.
I think that is so fantastic because We all know what we experience. That's our reality, and as a parent myself, it's when you reflect back, maybe with wisdom and a bit of grace that comes later in life, you think, wow, I wish I could have maybe done something a bit different. I wish I had known more then. And so the fact that you can really help women get grounded and understand and grow, it gives such hope and opportunity for their future and the future of their children.
Yeah. One of the things we're trying to do is to stop the generational trauma. And a lot of us have grown up with just that. And because we don't know, we don't understand what is happening, and we just react. So we're trying to take a good look at the development of the child. What are the child's needs at each year or each milestone? It's not the child is mad at you specifically, which may have been something that maybe the child grew up with angry parents and always hears when someone raises their voice that it goes against them. But it isn't really. It is just a development in the child, right? Mm-hmm. So just learning all those different cues.
Yeah, and those are just amazing life skills to really to have a moment to reflect, to learn, to grow. Sometimes our society, we're busy and it's hard to take a breather and take that moment. So that is fantastic. And Diane, could you maybe tell us, for the women that are interested in this particular program, they don't necessarily have to be residents at Ingamo Homes, do they?
No, they don't. They can be referred. We, again, collaborate with the Children's Aid Society of Oxford. We collaborate with the Family Violence and, of course, DASO. And, we get lots of referrals. So we have a referral line that I can give you later to make those referrals into the program. We have 29 people at this moment who are on a wait list, and we're hoping to run the next program in February.
That's 29 is quite a few. And I think it's important to note that very likely these are women, 29 women so far, from all across Oxford.
Yes, they are.
And from all walks of life and all different backgrounds, I would assume.
Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to stress is that another way that United Way Oxford has helped us is through the COVID, because the COVID pandemic. What we did, we couldn't have, as you know, we couldn't have any one-to-one programs. We couldn't have groups. So United Way was very helpful in helping us get tablets. So we were able to help women take an online sort of course. And it was a lot of learning. It was a lot of time going into making sure that women, some of them remotely, had internet service, could partake, understood that there were rules around confidentiality and also safety, because when you're in your home, you don't know if there's also an abuser in the background listening into some of the information which may make her or the children unsafe. So there was lots of things that we had to incorporate to make these programs successful. And some of the remote really helped with the number of women we did have on our wait list, because some women don't do well in a group setting and really liked being able to participate in a remote setting. So that was
many
really
learnings.
Great. Oh, so many.
Sadly, it has been such a difficult and challenging time. But I really respect the organization's commitment to serving in your case, the women and the children, and finding your way through, finding a way that will work to meet their needs, to meet them where they're at, and just making it happen. And now having the option to have a few variables to, again, meet people where they're at. And that really matters, and it opens up some new opportunities, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And even another thought that we did have through the pandemic is United Way Oxford helped us out with children's tutoring, because we had, like as I said, we have 21 townhouses, so we had 21 families. All these families are, a lot of them were having difficulties doing the online courses for, child schooling at home. So monies were used for the Oxford Learning Academy, I think it was called, that we put a few children through for about 4 to 5 months to help them keep their grades up through homeschooling, because moms just can't look after all these children, deal with all the issues that they're dealing with: poverty, housing, lack of housing, and then also keep on track of schoolwork. So
there was a lot on people's plates. There still is, truthfully, and I think that's maybe a great way to end off this segment is about what are you seeing now about community needs, because they have, I would assume, there's been a toll, if you will, from COVID, and a toll on everything from housing to mental health to violence, the whole gamut. And so what are some of the challenges you're facing now, or how they maybe are growing?
Housing is absolutely the first and foremost need that we have. There is a shortage of 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms across the county. It's a 7 to 10 year wait. Our program is transitional, so most times women do best under 2 years being in that program, but they're staying now for 5 years. So housing is
because they can't afford it. Because it's affordable housing. Right?
Yeah, it's rent geared to income. Rent geared to income housing, and just to rent a room is astronomical. It's like there's nothing out there. Before, we would be able to get an apartment here and there. There's none to be found that are affordable. Not enough for women with children. There's not space. So that's a real problem. The other thing is, as I believe COVID has done a lot of isolation, and women are now not so ready to join groups, not so ready to be out there. I think the isolation has really impacted, because part of abuse, part of domestic violence is isolating your victim. So there was a lot of triggering happening with that, as well as women coming from homes where they couldn't get out of. So there's more triggering and more trauma with that. So there's so many needs. I could probably talk to you for about an hour on the needs.
Well, we are so pleased to be able to partner with you and Ingamo Homes, and to invest, but also to help leverage other opportunities and volunteer opportunities and other workplace donations, because it really does take a village, and it really requires organizations working together, and I think sometimes people forget or don't realize, but the organizations serving people across our county from a social service needs perspective really do work together. They recognize that together they're stronger. We believe together we're stronger, and it really does require everyone coming together to do a piece to meet these growing needs and to help people move forward, so that we can have that strong, healthy community for everyone, right? Which is what we want.
Absolutely. Stronger families make a stronger community.
They do indeed. Diane, I just want to thank you for joining us today, and for the work that you and your staff do in Oxford County, serving women and children across our county. It really matters, and we're pleased that our volunteers are able to make sure that you have some of the resources you need to do that work. I would like to just invite people to stay tuned for our upcoming episodes, where we will continue to share partnership stories and work of United Way, and work of some of our funded partners and community partners, and how together we are creating positive impact across Oxford County. If you have any questions about this podcast or others, please email Mike at unitedwayoxford.ca. He's our go-to guy for this. And once again, a thank you to Libro Credit Union for all that they do to help us make this happen. Finally, Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Let's Talk Local, Oxford. Take care. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Local, Oxford. If you would like to learn more about United Way Oxford, our work, our engagement, our volunteer opportunities, our partners, or to even make a donation, please visit unitedwayoxford.ca or call our office. We love to chat, and we really love visitors too. If, however, you find yourself needing a hand to locate a program or a service, please call 211, our information and referral service. They're there to connect you to local supports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Remember, 211, they are there to help. Until next time, join with us by showing your local love. We all could use a little more of that. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Local Oxford, proudly sponsored by Woodstock Libro Credit Union.